The Spanish announce table.
Tom, we are sitting here on episode 399 of the Spanish announce table. I hope all of the millions and millions of the Spanish announce table nation fans are seeing this live because I don't know. My computer's broken. I'm using a secondary backup computer that I had to download everything on today to get us up and running. So I hope we are that. I hope we are up and running. I feel like we are. Theo says, hopefully Tom and Tim were fighting each other online. Theo, sounds good? You can hear us? You can hear Tom? I can hear myself.
Well, I haven't talked yet, so here it is. So I am actually watching the YouTube live stream right now, so it's a little bit behind us, so I don't want to waste audio and just wait for me to then catch up, but we will know here in just a quick second if I have audio on the YouTube. There it is. I am actually watching the YouTube live
Look at that
right now, so it's a little bit behind. Look at that. Inception. You heard me, and then you heard me on another device hearing me. Tim.
I will tell you this, for you fans, in the last 2 hours, I have downloaded, I think, 7 different programs to make thumbnails, get audio routed, get live streams going.
Tim is the real wizard of pro wrestling.
It's a little bit scaled down of the show, but
it's fine.
We're here. Oh yeah, you're talking about drivers for audio interfaces. You're talking about Photoshop bootleg software. These kind of things. Stuff. Yeah.
Tim,
yeah. But
we have no time to waste.
No time to waste. That's why we got to get the show running, computer or not.
Yeah. We thank you for your efforts. Obviously, you are the brains behind this podcast, but we did so much this past weekend. For those who did not listen to last week's episode or the week prior to that, we traveled up to Chicago, Illinois for All Out. Fun fact, and everyone let us know, the event actually didn't take place in Chicago. It took place in Hoffman Estates. Everyone wanted us to know that. Every single person wanted us to know.
And what I wanted to tell everybody is, like, we know, man.
Yeah. Not the first time.
We know.
But to an international audience, for someone who's watching maybe in Germany, they've heard of Chicago. They haven't heard of Hoffman Estates. They may have heard of Kansas City. They haven't heard of Independence. So that's why you say it. Nonetheless, we went to Chicago. We went to Rampage. We did some meet and greets. We went to GCW, and we went to All Out. So, Tim, first night we get there, we go to Rampage. What were your thoughts on Rampage and the whole first kickoff festivities that we took part of?
Rampage left us wanting a lot more, if I'm being honest, right? We thought it was slow. We thought it was ho-hum, which, I guess when you say it, you sound like, yeah, sure, right. But we made a big trip, right? Like we took hours, we took a lot of money, and we were like, let's get this thing pumping, get me excited. I didn't expect a whole lot, but I thought, like, ooh, here's what's coming, right?
Yeah.
We didn't really get a whole lot of that at all.
We did get the matchup of Dark Order and Hangman versus the Best Friends. So that was the first time in AEW history, at least to my knowledge, that we got to see Hangman and Orange Cassidy wrestle each other. So that was kind of cool to see that kind of moment. But to your point, yes, it was a lot of filler. They did Dark for 2 hours. It was a lot of squash matches. I understand on one hand where you say, hey, we're not going to throw everything at the wall, because if these guys get hurt, which we'll talk about it All Out, then we can't get to All Out, so we don't want to shoot our shot too early, because then we won't have the ball when it matters, and then everything falls apart. So Rampage, I thought, was fine. I think, and this is not just for this past weekend, I think across the board, Dark and Elevations need to step up. I understand from everything you read and you hear from Tony Khan, he books everything. Stop it. Stop booking that stuff. We need someone or some team to focus in on developing at least lower level storylines that make Elevation and Dark watchable. I get that you get the local talent, Dan the Dad we saw. I'm not saying don't have those matches. I'm saying have at least 1 or 2 stories that I'm going to watch if I see Dark or Elevation in person. So, or on YouTube. So that was Friday night. We got in to Chicago, saw Rampage, got some good rest on Friday night, and we hit the town on Saturday, up and early. We went to the AEW meet and greet. I got to meet Bryan Danielson. I also got to meet The Acclaimed. If you haven't checked out my social media, you will see both of those pictures. I got to do the scissor picture with The Acclaimed, which is always fun. Bryan Danielson, sweetheart of a person, very nice. I was actually the first one to meet him because Tim and I waited in line before there was a line, which, that's a tip to anyone who's never done this before. And he was very nice, very cordial, shook my hand, made eye contact with me. I've done this a lot, right? I've met a lot of people. There have been people in the past, well, they'll shake your hand. They're talking about something else or having a conversation with someone while you're supposed to be meeting them. So it meant a lot that Bryan Danielson actually, at least with me, took the time to make eye contact, have a short conversation, and take the picture. So the meet and greet from my end was really fun. Now, Tim, you didn't take part in the actual meet and greet. You did more of the running around and all of that stuff.
Yeah,
tell me about your experience.
They had some meet and greets that were like included with your entry, right? Some stars were standing off at a concert, right? They would rotate them in and out after about a half an hour or so. But they were very stars. But yes, then there were the ones like you said where you you get the picture and you get, you get like guaranteed time and that kind of thing, and you get some memorabilia. So I did those, and then I kind of wandered around, and like they had little shows going on, right? They had some
AEW Heels, BTE
stuff, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So all of that was super fun, right? They had Kip Sabian walking around with his box head on. Got a picture of that. Just having a blast meeting wrestling fans. People loved our shirts, Spanish Announce Table shirts, which, by the way, Spanish Announce Table. We need to get that link up again. Hit us up if you want a shirt. We'll give you the link. It's on Twitter. You can find it. But loved it. Loved all of that. So
the two biggest takeaways from the meet and greet, besides for me personally getting to meet Bryan Danielson and The Acclaimed, were first, Tim got to experience deep dish pizza in Chicago. So tell us a little bit about your food adventure experiencing deep dish pizza in Chicago. Was it everything you wanted?
It was everything I expected, right? Like I expected a quiche, pizza quiche, right? Which is, hey, listen, it was good. That's what I was wanting, right? Like I was like, pizza quiche, let's do this. So I enjoyed all of that thoroughly. Yeah.
And then
I got so what I didn't do was I didn't go, what I should have done, I think in hindsight, is go the like pepperoni, right? Like get the pepperoni and do that. I did more of like, I think I got the like barbecue chicken pizza. Now it was still good, right? It was big, deep dish pizza and good, but I was like,
but that's not a traditional.
I was like, should have gone pepperoni. But we were in it for the long haul. We were eating a lot of bar food, a lot of stadium food, and I was like, man, pepperoni just feels like it's piled on even worse, right? Let's just take all the sodium, right? all of it.
So the biggest takeaway from the Saturday afternoon meet and greet, though, was, as Tim mentioned, we got a couple of those with entry meet and greets, and we met Jay Lethal, very nice person, liked our shirts. We talked about our shirts. With Jay Lethal, though, was 7'4" Satnam Singh. And I'm telling you, sometimes there's liberties taken with people's heights, whether it's shorter or higher. Satnam Singh is every bit 7'4". I have never felt more like an adult child than when I shook his hand. And Tim, you're bigger than me, and you even said the same.
Yeah, no, he was huge. He was a very large man. So I went to shake his hand, and when you like shake hands, your hands wrap around each other. There was no room to wrap around. It was like I slapped my hand up against a wall, and then that wall just wrapped around my still hand, almost bending it backwards, right? I was like, this guy doesn't know what it's like to shake a hand normally either. He gets a bunch of weird, like, you know what I mean? Like straight up and down things. Anybody, this is my advice to you. If you meet Satnam Singh, go for the fist bump. Right? The handshakes might break your hand. Yeah, the fist bump will give you the like, oh my God, I just hit one knuckle. But, yeah, he was a huge man. Huge man. You had to literally crank your neck up, but very pleasant, very nice. Yeah.
Very pleasant, very nice. He took the time, just like Bryan Danielson, and honestly, most of the AEW talent. I didn't really hear any complaints from people meeting other wrestlers that they were rude or anything. everyone was nice. We also met Powerhouse Hobbs. He was very
he was so
nice
cool.
and cordial, very giving of his time.
Yep.
So yeah, the meet and greet was great. And we'll get to All Out. But I'm gonna venture a guess here for Tim. I believe Tim's highlight of the trip is what came Saturday night. Saturday night,
yes,
we went out to GCW, our first Game Changer Wrestling show in person. And Tim, I want you to take it away. What did you think? This was a spectacle into itself.
GCW was amazing, right? So, okay, we know what GCW is. We've seen GCW on TV, right? But we're here in Chicago, and I know, they're going to do a secondary show around here. It didn't kind of hit me where, right? And the tickets just say Grand Sports Arena. So we're like, yeah, sounds like a venue. And we walk. It's only like a 20-minute walk for Tom and I. And we're not too old for that yet, right? So we're going to go do that. And we show up on it's a barn is the best thing I can describe that's been turned, or like an old mechanics warehouse that's been turned into an indoor soccer stadium. And turned into an indoor soccer stadium 20 years ago and not had any upkeep maintenance since.
Yes,
and
exactly.
So we were like, yeah, okay, this is now we're here. Now we're at GCW. And get in, and you can't hear yourself talk over the late 90s to early 2000s
Tupac, Too
rap
Short.
blaring.
Yeah, Rage Against the Machine, Linkin Park, all the early 2000s rage music that you could think of, they had it blaring, and it just was so great.
And shit you not, they're making homemade tortillas at the concession stand, and I'm just like,
so great.
This is going to be the best night of my life. They're selling buckets of beer, right? You get your 6-pack in a bucket of ice, and I was like, this tonight is going to be one of the nights that we remember the most. And we talked to Kevin Gill, KG, friend of the show. He sat there and talked to us for a good solid 5 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
We were probably keeping him from doing stuff he had to do to prepare for the show, but he was nice anyway because he's a great guy. So that was super fun. And he told us that we were in the 5th row, because we're ballers, that we were probably safe from, shrapnel, blood, etc. And you said, I don't think so. I just saw last night's event on TV, and a motherfucker got thrown into the 7th row. So
Marco's stunned.
We're not safe, right? Yeah, we're not safe at all. And man, everything in-ring product-wise was everything you could expect from a GCW show, right? There's light tubes, there's tables, there's chairs, there's wrestlers fucking with the crowd, right? There's us booing people we like because they're fucking with us. It's an amazing show. Can't speak highly enough of it. And then, how we ended that show, too. I'll let you tell that story.
Well, before we get to the end of the GCW night, the first match was a ladder match where the winner got a case of PBR, which was just so GCW. Like, that's the type of event that we went to. As soon as they said the winner gets this PBR, and it was kind of already half open.
Oh, so, when there's a title match and the ref holds up the title, the ref is holding up the case of Pabst. How much better does this get?
Yeah. And so then I want to go to the women's match. So before the women's match, it was pretty standard pro wrestling violence that I've seen at other shows. There was a, jump off the ladder with the Macho Man elbow kind of spot. I've seen those kind of things. I, however, have never seen the light tube spot.
Oh,
and I giggled like a girl the first time a light tube got busted over one of these poor girls' heads.
Flying into the.
It
was hitting people near us. I don't know how we didn't get something.
The sound was outstanding. It was so shocking. I mean, if you were looking anywhere else, your eyes would immediately go to where that sound was. And then from that moment on, after I started with my giggle fit, we got into some fun, and it just kept escalating from there. We did a 2-ring war game style tag team championship match, featured the Briscoes, featured Effie, featured so many other talents. There was new tag team champions crowned. I won't spoil it if you do want to go back and watch it. We also got a sighting or an appearance, from Matt Cardona. We were sitting on the wrong side of the crowd because His wife decided to distract Matt Cardona's opponent in a very revealing way. Again, don't want to spoil it. Go look it up. But we were on the opposite side of that, and that sucked. That was not good for us. That was probably the only bad thing that happened. But as you mentioned, Tim, after the event's over, we decide we're going to do a meet and greet because they advertise a meet and greet with Nick fucking Gage, right? And so we had already done meet and greets before.
MDK all day.
And so we did meet and greets before, right? We did all of these things. So why not do one more, right?
Well, and just like you said, we knew to be first.
Oh yeah, I'm a veteran of this meet and greet game. You ain't getting one over on me. I'm pretty good at this shit. So yeah, we are first ones to meet Nick Gage. So quick side quest here to tell you a little bit of how this interaction went. Earlier on Friday, had lunch with a friend. Tim was there as well. And I decided to pay for lunch because it was just good to see my fellow coworker who had moved from Kansas City up to Chicago. I pay for lunch. Think nothing of it. My friend there says, I got it. No, let me pay for myself. And I was like, no, it's fine. It's fine. And then they hand me a $20 bill in cash. And I was like, what am I getting? It's paper. What, because everything's card, right? And my friend says, you're going to need this. I don't know when, I don't know how, but you're going to need this $20 bill. So fast forward, the meet and greet with Nick Gage starts. As Tim says, we are the first ones in line. So Nick Gage gets there, and before it actually starts, he just starts a conversation with us. I don't even know what I said. Tim, you're going to have to fill in the details.
So here's the thing. All right. Yeah, we're standing there, and the line is maybe not only like 20 people yet, right? But it's people are starting to figure out what's going on, right? People are exiting, and then there's a sign that says line. That's the thing, they didn't advertise that this was going on or where it was, other than a sign next to the merch table. It says meet and greet for Nick Gage starts here after the show. So we just started next to that sign. We're like, I hope they come right here, right? Like, I hope that's where it's going. And so the guy comes up, he's like, you guys here for the meet and greet? And we're like, yeah. And he's like, oh, okay, all right, we're going to start it here in a second. And he's standing there ready, and we're like, okay, all right, cool. And Nick Gage is like the next guy behind him, and he's just like, what's up, guys, right? Or whatever Nick Gage says, right? And we're just like, I don't even think it hits us. We're just kind of like, what's going on? Like, hey, like, all right, like, we're already meeting and greeting Nick Gage before the meet and greet. Like, the guy hasn't asked us anything, and he's like, okay, yeah. And he's like, people are already lining up. And he's like, yeah, sure. And he's like, all right, what do you guys want, right? Because you could get, like, just the meet and greet. You get a photo. You could get a signed merch thing that you bring, right? You had all these options. And we're like, we'll do the photos, $25, meet and greet and photo. We were like, we'll do that. And we hand him credit cards. Here. And he was like, oh, I only take cash. And we're like, the fuck? Like, of course, fucking GCW. Like, yeah, we're in a soccer field barn. And so we're like, oh, shit, like, man, like, we're like, there's not even an ATM for fucking probably miles around this fucking thing. We're like, oh no, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I was like, I'm not going back standing and look, and now the line is like 200 people long. I don't know. And I'm like, no. And you, like, literally pull out that 20 that your friend had gave you, and you were like, I've got a 20. Do you got a 5? And I'm like, no, I don't got a 5, and let alone, like, there's 2 of us, right? Like, how are we going to do this? And the guy's just like, all right, I'll take that. Just hurry up. Come on, let's get this going. Takes our 20, and you go, like, stand next to Nick Gage. And I was like, well, I'm getting in there too. And he's like, yeah, whatever, just hurry it up. So we stand there. I'm holding up this GCW shirt that I had bought earlier.
Yes.
And Nick Gage is like, and you're just like, man, like, before the guy can, like, get ready with this photo, you're just like, man, I fucking love all the shit you're doing, man. Like, you're the fucking best. And he was like, thanks, man, fucking love you. And, like, whatever, he's like, this is great. And you were like, you've been working out, I've been seeing them videos. And I can't even remember, like, what else you were like, I love your fucking energy. And I remember Nick Gage just looks at you and he's like, I love your fucking energy right now. And you guys fucking chest bump. And I said to the guy, I was like, man, I think he's going to fucking run away with this guy. And he's just like, all right, let's take the photo. So I'm holding up the thing. And I think you guys are doing the MDK all day thing. And then the guy's like, all right, next. Like, he's trying to get this fucking line going, the guy taking the photo. And Nick Gage is like, no, fuck that. He's like, get another fucking one, and, like, throws up the birds. So you throw up the fucking birds too, and I'm holding the shirt. I'm just like, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. And Nick Gage is just like, fucking, and the guy, like, takes another photo, and I turn to Nick Gage, and you're like, getting ready to like walk off, and I was like, "You're the fucking man," and he's like, "You're fucking right," and he like gives me the like low five, you know what I mean? And we're just like, "Yeah!" And we walk out of there like just fucking like the greatest thing that ever happened to us. It was so fun.
I swear, and Tim was not wrong. I would have, if Nick Gage would have asked me to join his cult, I would have been in a cult.
Oh, yeah, if he would have said, "Guys, we're going over this, stay here, don't move, we're going to go rob the liquor store," we'd be like, "Let's fucking do it, Nick Gage. Let's fucking do it. Let's
Whatever
do it."
you say, I trust you. Yeah, we would have followed him into the abyss that night. It was so crazy.
It was so fun.
I just saw in the chat from, let me make sure I got this name right. Cool Cam. He says, "God, you guys are really making me want to go to a GCW show." And if you take anything away from this episode, this Spanish Announce Table 399 episode, the one thing I want you to take away is if there is a GCW show within your financial means and your distance as far as miles away from where you are, make sure you go to that show. It will be the most fun you will have. If you're listening to this show, you like a certain brand of wrestling. Obviously, there's enough wrestling that for all of us, but if you're listening to this show, you most likely kind of like what we like, and we love this show. So again, the one thing I would say is if you can, go to a GCW show at all costs, at all means.
So
try to get
the other
out there.
thing that we left unsaid about the GCW show too. You see GCW, you see the blood, you see the stuff. It takes a certain type to be able to stomach that, but
yes,
everything was love. Everybody was having a good time. Everybody was complimentary of each other. Everybody was welcoming. Everybody wanted to spark a conversation, and everybody was equals. If that's another thing too, like it didn't matter, and everything was amazing and had a great time. Like we felt warm, we felt safe, we felt loved.
And we saw violence.
Nick fucking Gage. Yeah.
Nick
it was love
Gage.
Through violence. That's the episode name.
There it is right there. So that was our GCW event. And again, like we said, if you can, go to a GCW show, save up for it, do whatever you can. It is worth your time. So then we get to Sunday. And Sunday, before All Out happens, there was a fun AEW, I guess, pre-party. It was hosted by Smart Mark Sterling, which was great. Also in attendance was RJ City. He did a Hey EW with Renee Paquette. Special surprise there. Also got to see Danhausen. Cutie Marshall came out. Loves the podcast, as usual. He came out. Yeah. Honestly, he was putting our podcast over more than really anything else, which is, Cutie, just back off a little bit, bud. But then he got to do the dunk take. He was hilarious. Cutie Marshall is Mr. AEW versatility. Whatever you need as far as a heel goes, put in Cutie Marshall and he'll give it to you, because that's what he did at this pre-party. He was doing interviews. He was doing the dunk take. He was doing pictures, everything you could ask for. He was doing it for you. And then to cap off this pre-party, we got I would say a reduced version of a Max Caster concert. He did about 4 songs, came out, did the songs, took off because he had a AEW championship match that night. Again, very nice, was just as nice as when I met him at the meet and greet the day before. Did his songs. We all sang along. Got to see one guy who was just in his own world. He was a space cadet like no other, just doing his own dances, which was hilarious. And that was the pre-party.
That whole pre-party was fun, though. So, we got to meet Nathan with a Y from TikTok.
Nathan with a Y on TikTok. Shout out Nathan with a Y. He was great. And we had a lengthy conversation with him.
Probably a good half hour, I think.
Yeah, great guy.
Very fun. And just, like you said, the Cutie Marshall thing sticks out the most. I mean, Danhausen was there being hilarious. He's like one of the main hosts of this thing. I think Pro Wrestling Tees was the main sponsor of this. And he's great. He's running around as AEW fan Dan undercover with his hat, right? AEW fan Dan. He's punching Mark Sterling in the balls maybe 50 times, I think, in a few hours
every
we
time.
were there.
Yeah.
And yes, the RJ City, right? RJ City interview
of
RJ Renee Paquette was awesome. And the Busted Open stuff that was out there when they had Dave LaGreca talking to
Dave
Marshall
LaGreca.
Yeah.
Side note on that, before we get into All Out, going
Yeah.
back to our meet and greet, we approached Dave LaGreca because, as I mentioned, I think a couple weeks ago, I contribute sometimes to Ron Funch's podcast called One Fall. He had Dave LaGreca. I pitched an idea that I think Hangman should go heel at All Out because maybe he's kind of getting into a dead end with being this baby face. So maybe refresh it up with a heel turn. Dave LaGreca said I was an idiot. So fast forward to the meet and greet. I tell Tim, hey, that fucking guy called me an idiot. Let's go talk to him. So I walk right up to him. I was, hey, how you doing? Oh, good. Spanish announce table. What's that? I was like, oh, it's our podcast. Oh, that's great. Yeah. I was like, I'm Thomas from Ron Funch's podcast. Hey. I was like, I think Hangman turning heel is actually a good idea. Oh, yeah, it could be. It could be. You know, he was good. He subscribes to the podcast. So Dave, thank you so much for listening. Hope you're a new fan that stays around for a while. But yeah, Dave LaGreca of Busted Open Radio is now part of the Table Nation here on the Spanish Announce Table.
Yeah, but Cutie Marshall, you're right, is so hilarious. I mean, he was able, like, if we did a live roast with AEW stars, Cutie Marshall is going to kill it. Cutie Marshall is going to kill it. And when he was on the dunk tank, even better, because, you know, some people are getting it, but, you know, most people aren't. And he's just obliterating them. It was so fun. So fun.
Yes.
Loved that pre-party. Yeah, that was good.
All right, so now let's get to it. We have AEW All Out. And fun fact, I was feeling myself after all of these festivities. I was in love with AEW and pro wrestling as a whole. And so you know what I did? I upgraded the tickets. And I got us floor seats, fifth row
again, because we're ballers.
Facing opposite camera side. So if you go back, watch All Out 2022 from Chicago. And if you look in the fifth row, I'm standing in front of a gigolo in the wild. A man looked like a gigolo. Juggalo.
Yeah.
What's a gigolo?
Easier to spot the juggalo than the gigolo.
Oh, gigolo is the sex thing. Yeah, right. Juggalo. Sorry. My apologies. Yes, a juggalo. I'm standing in front of a juggalo. Tim
might have been a juggalo. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, no. Hey, just like the GCW, all are welcome. Tim, unfortunately, was behind Satnam Singh's twin brother, apparently. Was 7 foot, whatever it was, too.
Yeah, he was cutting off a good third of the left side of the ring for me for most of the event.
Yeah, so we're not going to get into, because obviously there's post All Out items that we're going to discuss. So there was also 15 matches. We're not going to go through the entire card. We're just going to hit some highlights. So Tim, if you want to start first, what were just some of your highlights from All Out?
The first highlight came in 0 hour with Eddie Kingston taking on Ishii in Slapfest 2022. Slapcago, man. This thing was woo. And for as I watched the show back, of course, because, you know, got to look at my face for 3 hours, 4 hours, 7. I think we were there for 7 hours.
I think we're still there.
Slaps are intense watching the show, but they ricochet so much more live.
Oh, yeah.
So it sounded like somebody was shooting off guns. Just whap, 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 back and forth. You could see the skin just leathering on these guys as we went through the match, and everybody was getting pumped for this. We were like, all right, we're going to see some violence tonight, and it was fun.
It was great. Yeah, what else did you like from All Out? We got some casino ladder matches. We got some Danielson Jericho. What else was it that you liked?
The casino ladder match, I think, also started to get things in. We're watching. That's a spot fest. You're kind of expecting that. Everything's going on. You're like, who's going on? Everybody's talking like, who's the Joker going to be? I think everybody's got some key guesses, right? And then we get this Joker scenario, right?
Mystery Man.
6-7 people come out, start beating everybody up. Somebody climbs to the top. It's Stokely Hathaway, and we're all like, what the fuck? What? Why? But then they begin a countdown, which indicates that's not the Joker, right? Then the match is not over. And then we get the Rolling Stones playing.
Yeah, Sympathy for the Devil.
Behind us, right? Like over here. And, you know, go ahead.
And again, hindsight 2020, rewatching this, knowing what you know at the end, the song that the mystery man comes out to was just chef's kiss brilliant. Sympathy for the Devil from the Rolling Stones. Fast forward to the end. We all know what happens. MJF comes back to AEW and he says, the devil is back. So just tying all of this devil theme for what MJF will be is awesome.
And the song even kind of like the lyrics even kind of allude at one point of we don't know who the hell you are, right? Like he's like, yeah, like kind of like, hope you get my name, right? Like, right, yeah, exactly. It's so fun. Yeah. I think we all kind of were like, okay, it's got to be MJF, right? The crowd murmur around us is like, that's got to be MJF. Everybody's like, if it's not, who the fuck is it good? Like, I said, it be, right?
Yeah, I said John Cena, and some people were like, what? And I was like, I'm kidding. But it would be crazy.
One of my thoughts was like, okay, is this like could it be a Bray Wyatt? But it was not big enough, right? So we're like, yes, this got to be. It's got to be MJF. We're hoping. I think, again, I'm hoping. Of all hope, I'm like, please let this be MJF. I want to see MJF tonight.
Yeah. So some of the highlights for me, honestly, more of the highlights, like you said, took place during the 0 hour. So I will co-sign what you said, that Eddie Kingston Ishii Slapfest was outstanding, amazing. I liked how the show started with Sammy Guevara and Tay Conti being interviewed by RJ City. They're hearing the honking of the horn. It's the golf cart. He gets ran over again. She gets hit with a trash can. That was a cool way to start the whole night. So that was really fun. You had I think what was the match of the night. Oh, excuse me. So from the 0 hour, I wanted to talk about that real quick. So from the 0 hour, the other big highlight for me was Hook versus Angelo Parker. The match was what it was. But before the match, it was announced that Action Bronson was in attendance to the right of us. We could see him. I was going to go get his picture, but then you could tell he wasn't really interested in like being a man of the people, which I would find out later. And as would you, the watching audience, after Hook gets the victory over Angelo Parker, Matt Menard starts putting the boots to him with Angelo Parker, and Action Bronson makes his way into the ring, tosses both 2.0 guys like a sack of shit, and then gets down looking like, the tattooed 2022 version of Taz out here. And that was awesome. So the 0 hour, honestly, was phenomenal. I loved every bit of the 0 hour.
One of the highlights of that match, also with Hook and Angelo Parker, right? Mm-hmm. Is Matt Menard coming over and yelling like in our general direction of our crowd, and us just getting to unload on that guy.
Yeah.
He's every bit as like wide head, looking as he is on TV, and it's so fun.
Yeah, it is.
He turns it up. When they say turn it up to 11, that guy turns it up to 31.
Yeah, he's off the charts with his charisma. It was something.
Whatever you call it.
So then for me, a personal highlight, and I knew it, and I told everyone around me, shut up. If you say something bad, I'm probably going to punch you in the face. I said that. And it was the House of Black versus Darby Allin, Sting, and Miro. I love Miro. I like Darby Allin. House of Black is fine. But I've been waiting since I was 4 years old to see Sting wrestle in person. And I know he's 63. I don't give a shit. I got to see the Stinger Splash in person. Stereo Stinger Splashes. I think he did it 3 times.
And hit him. You were so cool.
Yeah. It was so incredible. I loved every second about it. I felt so satisfied. After that, honestly, I didn't care if they just said, hey, no one else can make it out for the show. Show's over. I'm like, I'm fine. That sucks, but I'm fine because I saw Sting.
One of the other highlights here was when we were walking into the arena, going down to our newly acquired seats that you got because you're a baller. Mm-hmm. You're handing the guy the ticket or, showing him the ticket on the phone, and you were like, hey, what? He's giving you the wristband. You're like, do we get these chairs? And he's like, oh, yeah, you get these chairs. And I'm talking these chairs, right? like the chair you're on. And you just were like, we get the chair to me. And I was like, yes. And then you were like, what the hell are we going to do with this chair? How are we going to get it home? We flew here.
Yeah, how do we?
We're going to figure it out. We'll just leave. Yeah. People tried to offer you upwards of $200 for this chair.
Yeah.
Later, we used those chairs to sit on while we were waiting for an Uber, and about a gathering of 6 to 8 wrestling fans gathered from all over the world to talk to us. And then they just walked out of our lives at some point, like off to go find an Uber elsewhere. Some were from the UK but lived in the Bahamas. This was the first wrestling event ever. Like, it was amazing. Super fun time all around these fucking chairs that we got because we're ballers.
Yeah, so we decided, well, because I was like, I'm not standing here for 15 minutes waiting on Uber. We have chairs in hand, might as well use them. So just at the corner of two streets, intersection here, we just plop down our chairs, we sit, and like Tim said, we just get people offering $150, $200
walk
for
by,
these
they would be
chairs.
like, "What?" People would come by and aggressively scissor us.
Oh yeah, that was great.
And then they would be like,
And,
"Hey, what do you want for that chair?" We'd be like, "Nothing." They'd be like, "I got $150." We'd be like, "Maybe."
No, right.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and then we
chairs were-
saw one guy successfully buy another person's chair, but the person selling him was trying to convince him to buy it and then hit him with it. It was amazing.
It was weird. Yeah, well, it was amazing, but it was also weird.
Wrestling.
Yeah, so again, going back to the matches, the Elite versus Hangman and the Dark Order was really good. That was probably the best story match that there was. But I think, and Tim, tell me if you disagree, I think the match of the night, I will say this, the energy for Jon Moxley, CM Punk was off the charts. From the second they said, we're doing this
dichotomy
shit,
of the crowd. Too.
It was incredible.
They were split a good 50-50 for this crowd.
It was awesome.
But you're talking about the
match of the night
match.
Was Swerve in Our Glory versus the Acclaim. The chants that we came up with, not us personally, but the crowd.
Only
Scissor
can
me
exist
daddy.
in wrestling. Scissor me daddy.
God.
Yeah, scissor me daddy.
Scissor me
you
daddy.
can't scissor. Daddy ass. Just so much. I can't even remember. I think they were chanting. I don't even remember. There was just so many fun chants throughout the entire night. But
so many false
match,
finishes.
Right? In this match, the false finishes. It felt heartbreaking. If ever there was an audible call from the back to the ref of like, hey, let's change this. It should have been here. Now, I do think we're going to get the Acclaim going over in Arthur Ashe Stadium, which is going to have 20,000 people, I think.
Yeah.
So like, that could be huge. I'm just upset we won't be there. I mean, we could be there because we're ballers, but we've got things to do here for you, the fans. So we'll do that. But amazing thing. Like I think it took our like energy out of us for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like it was so, there was so many moments where I thought either team was winning that it it was gut punching excitement. It was great.
And to their credit, Swerve in Our Glory called an audible themselves. They identified, oh shit, we're getting booed pretty bad here. So let's just go into our heel type of tactics. Heels. And they didn't go full heel where they're grabbing chairs and hitting them when the ref's not looking, nothing like that. But they were going in hey, you like this guy? I'm going to kick him one more time just so that you don't like that. So I enjoy that they were able to adapt on the fly. So credit to Swerve in Our Glory. Yeah. Now, as we mentioned, Jon Moxley, CM Punk, the energy was insane. As we all know, CM Punk wins.
Well, what was boring before we do that was Chris Jericho versus Bryan Danielson.
It was.
The lady behind us was chanting that.
Yeah, no one was into it. I just think when you have the fun of Swerve in Our Glory and the Acclaim and, the storytelling of the Elite and Hangman and Dark Order, in my opinion, you can't go into technical wrestling hold things because we're at a point that we can't go back down.
The women's title match was exciting. There was some good
spots.
The
women,
there with Jamie Hayter, Britt Baker. I'm surprised we didn't get something about that on Dynamite.
Well, I think we will. So there was a backstage quick video where Britt Baker tries to talk to Jamie Hayter and Jamie just walks off and is like, I ain't talking to you. So we got a little something.
Yeah, you're right.
Tony Storm is now your new interim AEW women's champion. Jon Moxley. What's that?
A lot of interim champions.
A lot of interim champions, which is fine. There's a lot of interim champions in the UFC. I mean, injuries happen.
It's real.
So I like it. I understand a certain aspect of, hey, let's write a story out of this, not just keep it real. But I think one of the things, quick sidebar here, one of the things that we always respected about Paul Heyman and ECW is that if he had a contract dispute with Sabu, he would just go to the ring and tell you, Sabu's not here tonight. He chose to go to a different show instead of ECW. And then you knew he didn't write a story around the mystery of where Sabu is. He just said straight up what happens. And in this day and age where we know everything on top of everything, it's hard to write a story when we know, Jon Moxley broke his foot, so that's why he's going to drop the title tonight. You know what I mean? So I enjoy the interim championships personally, but CM Punk gets the victory. He raises his hand in victory. He's the champion. Lights go out. we hear a recording, and at first, no one could really tell what this recording was. It obviously sounded like someone was on the phone.
I think it was because of the crowd noise.
Yeah, but it sounded like someone was on the phone, but it took us a minute to identify, oh, that's Tony Khan. Then the mystery man, as everyone saw, comes out. I thought it took a little bit more time. I think he should have took the head off and then the thing, but he took the head off. He says something. Then we knew it by his haircut. He has a very distinct haircut. Yeah. And then he puts I think
we knew by the conversation and the Tony Khan voicemail, right? Like,
well, yeah, but I mean,
context.
Yeah,
he's only having this money fight with one person that I know of.
Yeah. Oh, there was also the CM Punk. The greatest thing the devil ever did was convince you that he wasn't real from Ring of Honor. That was fine. But then here comes
the thing,
MJF.
The little hole in the plot there is like, how did MJF know Punk was going to win? Was he going to play that if Punk lost too? Maybe, I guess. Right? Maybe. If he's dead in the ring, you play that.
Yeah. But MJF is now, again, your casino battle royal, whatever it's called, winner. So he has an opportunity to challenge for the championship whenever he wants. And then at the end of the night, CM Punk was your champion. And that was All Out 2022. Like I said, we loved it.
Have they done this before, like with the chip thing? Is this whenever you want, like I say we're fighting this Sunday at Sin, or is it is it like a 24/7 where you go, guess what? I brought a ref, motherfucker, roll up.
Right. So I don't know about
like
that part. Yeah. I don't know if it's a cash in, but Scorpio Sky took his golden donut and he said, I'm going to challenge for the championship. Yeah. He said, I'm going to challenge next week. I'm going to cash this in. So if it works that way.
Yeah. Is it like a contract or is it a.
Brian Cage also did that. Remember when Brian Cage debuted in AEW during the pandemic and he won it? And then he said, John Moxley, in 2 weeks time or whatever, I'm cashing this in. So far, everyone's treated it that way.
Cage.
You fast forward to Dynamite, though. The one thing that was key is MJF kind of hit home that he could challenge at any time.
Right.
So it could be treated.
This tournament. It's dumb.
Yeah, it could be treated like a Money in the Bank case. We shall see. But yeah, that was All Out 2022. And so like we were talking about earlier, we took our chairs and we're walking out of the arena and we're trying to find an Uber. There was thousands of other people also trying to find an Uber. So it took us some time. We get in our chairs. We sit down. I see on Twitter, Devil Vamp, actually, shout out Devil Vamp, mentions us in a tweet saying how unprofessional CM Punk was. And I was like, in Chicago, that doesn't add up. And so then I just, mid-conversation with, again, the UK people living in the Bahamas, the country bumpkins that were talking to us about their first time going to a show, all of this one guy that was a Vegas blue belt or whatever, trying to act like I don't know MMA, but whatever. Throughout all of this, I just stopped and I just get my phone up, put on YouTube, and it's mid-conversation with CM Punk, just
dried blood and sweat, not even showered, just running his mouth. Cuss words. Go to our TikTok. I did a clip version of just the cuss words. And he's unloading. He's interrupting Tony Khan. He's like saying stuff that you can tell is like, Tony Khan's like, what the fuck did this guy just say? Like, it's bad.
Well, so let's get into it. So let's talk now about that. And then we'll talk about the fight. Then we'll get into Dynamite. So CM Punk's comments. We don't need to go into every single detail, but essentially who he talked about, as most people who are listening to this knows, talked about Colt Cabana, talked about how he thinks Hangman's an idiot, and how he thinks the executive vice presidents, which now are only the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, are all bumbling idiots that can't handle the responsibilities and should know better and need to step aside because he's a top babyface. So, Tim, I will turn to you here. What did you think of these comments? Were they fair? Were they out of bounds? What did you think of the whole situation?
No, I don't think they were fair. At the time, I didn't know what was going on, right? I was like, man, how did we get here? Like, why is he unloading? And it was clear he was talking about Colt Cabana, right? And I was like, man, did somebody ask about Colt Cabana, right? Like, that's fucking weird. I would be pretty pissed too, right? I think he's going a little aggressively over the top and has probably crossed the line, but I'd be mad. And I was like, okay, so whatever. Watching it back later, nobody asked him fuck all about Colt Cabana. He saw a guy in the crowd who used to do one of the first person they're going to, the reporter that's asking a question. He sees that guy and he recognizes him as a guy who used to do improv with Scott Colton, i.e. Colt Cabana, right? And CM Punk was like, hey, you a journalist? You call yourself a journalist? And he's like, yeah, right? Like, yeah, and he was like, you still friends with Scott Colton? Or he's like, you still do improv? And the guy was like, yeah. And he was like, with Scott Colton? He was like, I mean, I haven't done it with, in a long time or something. He's like, I just do, he was like, so you're still friends with Scott Colton? He's like, no, we don't see eye to eye. Right? Like, he even says, I don't like that motherfucker. Right? Yeah. Like, and CM Punk's like, oh, okay, well, all right. Well, he's like, then he even says, like, you might have ruined my spot. If you know what I mean? Like, if you're not friends with him. And then he says that line of, like, if you fancy yourself journalists and blah, blah, you should disclose who you're friends with. Well, first of all, he didn't have to do that because he's not friends with the guy, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then he goes all on his rant about Colt Cabana, and he's like, and it's fucking embarrassing that I have to sit up here and talk about this. And motherfucker, you didn't. You brought it up. You saw a guy you thought was his friend and went on a fucking rant. The guy wasn't, from what we can understand, I mean, we don't know, wasn't going to ask you a fucking question about Scott Colton or Colt Cabana. He himself doesn't like the guy. So the rest of it is lost on me because I'm like, you were already in a pissed off mood on a night that you won the goddamn title. And your hometown city chanted your name. The fuck is wrong with you, man? Like, what are you so angry about?
Well, from that perspective, to kind of follow up on your comments, maybe he wasn't on top of the world because, like you said, the crowd wasn't 100% CM Punk Chicago that he was trying to make it out to be. And then at the end of the night, it was MJF who was the talk of the wrestling world coming back, being the devil and all of that stuff. So maybe this was the opportunity that CM Punk said, oh, you motherfuckers are not just going to walk all over me. I'm going to put myself in the news, and maybe went off. Now, what I think happened is, this is one thing that I don't like in real sports. I don't like the post-fight interview after two people have fought each other for 15, 25 minutes. I don't like the post game.
It's a bad time. Like their
adrenaline
at its best was roided up on adrenaline. Yeah. And fucking in like, this is a real fight mode.
Right. So that state of being, and I know pro wrestling isn't a sport, but you still have to mentally, he was going to bleed this night. You have to mentally prepare and have the adrenaline to be like, yep, I'm okay with bleeding. That's cool. I'm going to cut myself. Right. So I just think this is really silly. I think you need to do it 2 hours later. Hell, do it the next day. Do a conference call with CM Punk and say, hey, last night you won the title. What do you think? Because again, it's pro wrestling. It's not real. Like, it's also, side note, the whole media scrum thing is also just confusing and stupid because for this entire time, they answer questions in character, but then they go out of character and answer questions as themselves. So it's a blur of lines that just is stupid. So that's first. But from my point of view, what I thought was CM Punk walked in. Someone did spark a nerve, right? He saw this person. Memories came to his mind of fucking Colt Cabana and the bullshit he went through. And I thought, again, watching back, because I thought initially it was a question, which I thought was fair for CM Punk to go off on. But then later I realized it wasn't a question. I still think CM Punk, in his adrenaline-filled, state that he was in, and then seeing this person who brought these memories, and to his credit, for 7 years, never said a damn thing about Colt Cabana, right? We never heard anything from his side about anything.
Correct.
Everything
Yeah.
was
He
from
always held that professionally and
right. Everything was little news
class.
chats and all the
Right.
stuff, right?
At
So
least
I
in the
think
public eye, he held that with class.
right.
Yes.
So in the state that he was in with the adrenaline going, this person bringing that memory, I think he just lost it. I think you guys have listened to this podcast long enough. You have seen me go off sometimes, and I'm not even in that state where just something sparks in my brain, and then I go off on this tangent and I go right. So I can understand CM Punk wanting to say like, you know what? I'm the champion of the world. I'm the fucking best wrestler going today. Everyone needs to fucking know where I stand on this situation that's just fucking on my heels. It seems like everywhere I go. Because go back a week, CM Punk's doing his whole promo about Chicago. And when he says that fat person hasn't screwed 16 girls or whatever, that guy said Colt Cabana.
Yeah.
So this Colt Cabana stuff was probably in his brain the entire time. So where he went off on Colt Cabana, if I'm being completely honest, I understand. I think it was not the right place. But again, I think he was in the wrong situation. Where I completely disagree with him, though, where I can't get behind anything of what he said, was the EVPs and Hangman comments. It made no sense because either you're alluding to the fact that these stories are getting out because of them, which you didn't outright say, or you're saying they can't handle their responsibilities and people are telling stories to the Dave Meltzers and all the Brian Alvarez's of the world, and someone needs to be in control of what gets out, which I would remind you, CM Punk, was one of the reasons you joined AEW when Brody Lee died and no one said a word, right? That was one of the things that he said made him more interested in AEW was how they handled the death of Brody Lee.
Yeah.
So we know that if real shit's real shit, AEW by and large isn't going to the Dave Meltzers of the world and Sean Ross Saps saying, hey, guess what? CM Punk's getting Colt Cabana fired. Tell everyone, right? That's not coming from AEW. And I don't think they're journalists. We don't need to go on that tangent. But Sean Ross Sapp said from all of his reporting on the Colt Cabana situation, he never talked to the Young Bucks or Kenny Omega. Never once did they comment on this situation. So that's where I felt like he was going off on something that he either needed to outright say, I think it was Matt Jackson or whoever, right, that is putting the story out that I'm getting Colt Cabana fired, or he doesn't need to say it at all because it was too ambiguous, which then I think leads to post media scrum. So according to Sports Illustrated, I don't go to the other people. I go to reputable sources. According to Sports Illustrated, and I'm going to paraphrase because I don't have it in front of me. What happens next is CM Punk says in the media scrum, if you have something to say, come fucking say it to me. Let's fucking go. Right. And now, again, me being a therapist here, because I'm obviously certified. I'm not, I'm kidding. I think now he's feeling himself and now he's got the adrenaline going again because he just went on this tangent and he feels like someone come fuck with me, right? So he's ready to go. You know what I mean? The Young Bucks, I don't think understood that. So post media scrum, CM Punk is in his locker room with Ace Steel and Ace Steel's wife and Larry, which let's all go all the way back to the start of the night. We got to see Larry.
I didn't know that one.
Yeah. So let's go back to the start of the night. We got to see Larry make his AEW debut. He took a couple laps around the ring before the event started. That was cute. Anyhow, let's go back to this. The story that I have read, and there's two different sides, so the truth is probably somewhere in the middle, is, and I'm going to paraphrase what I think more happened, and this is just my point of view. I have no evidence. No one's told me anything, right? I think the Young Bucks were banging on the door. CM Punk was still kind of riled up. So he was like, hey, fuckers, give me a second. Where the Young Bucks feel embarrassed and they're saying, if you want to fucking talk to someone, let's talk right now. So then the door opens up. I think words were exchanged. What the fuck are you saying? Go fuck yourself. You know that you're putting the story out there, right? Words are exchanged. And then from what I've read from Sports Illustrated, CM Punk punches Matt Jackson in the face. Wow. Gets him a how's your father to the dome. And then they're kind of scuffling with Nick Jackson trying to
Separate them, basically.
Separate him. Kenny Omega, by the way, gained a lot of points in my book because his first thought was, let's get Larry out of this situation, which God bless you, Kenny Omega. You've now gone on my, like, I can't shit on you list anymore. Like, you're helping out the dog.
Yeah.
I love you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Not your boys, not even trying to stop the fight. It's like, hold on, dog.
Exactly. So from this point on, whatever I said in the past, you can't bring up. I have nullified all my negative comments about Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega is one of the best for that reason only. Now, Kenny Omega is trying to get the dog out. Ace Steel, because his wife is in the room, says, fuck around and find out. I don't like this shit. He's probably also a ride or die with CM Punk, which we've seen countless times. And then you throw on that his wife is in here where a fight's happening. And Ace Steel's one of those guys that you don't fuck around with. We've heard that in Kansas City. He was here in the NWL. That was one of the guys that
we've met him and his wife several times over.
Yeah. Like, and one of the situations
I wouldn't try to fuck around to find out. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. And, you know, if any of the situations in NWL happened, one of the people that we kind of knew we would rely on if shit hit the fan was Ace Steel. So it's not like he's adverse to confrontation. Apparently, from the reporting from SI, and we'll figure out all the stuff later, Ace Steel throws a chair, hits Nick Jackson in the head, and gives him a black eye, possibly concussed him. And then Kenny Omega, after he deals with Larry, gets Ace Steel off of it. Ace Steel, because he's in a fight, thinks that he's getting cross-faced. So then he pulls Kenny Omega's hair, bites him. And then by that time, we got Pat Buck, we got Christopher Daniels, we got all of these people then separating them. And then they're still jawing at each other after the events. So that's what happened from, again, reporting that I've read from Sports Illustrated. So, Tim, we go into Sunday morning thinking, what the hell is going to happen in the wrestling world? Fast forward to Wednesday, Tony Khan kicks off the episode by saying CM Punk and the trio's champions, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, have been stripped of their championships. And then we've read from other reporting, I think also from Sports Illustrated, they have been suspended. Right. So what do you think about all of that?
So, I mean, that's the right move. Real quick before we get into that, use hashtag tweet the table on Twitter. We're at Table Show, and we'll read some on the show. Just like we're going to read one from at Ronald Mackin 13, who says, I heard that CM Punk has threw his toys out of his pram at All Out. Well, went all out. Hashtag tweet the table. Yeah, he did go all out. You know, one of the things that stuck out to me, one of the reasons I think if the fight didn't even happen, if I'm Tony Khan, I'm considering suspending CM Punk because I'm the CEO of a goddamn $1 million business here on a media scrum, and you're cutting me off and saying, like, he wants me to work with fucking children and saying, you know, the locker room's not worth shit. Like, hold on, motherfucker. Like, you know, we will discuss how Vince McMahon is not, you know, a beacon of anything you should aspire to be. But as far as business sense goes, he didn't let that conversation go past the first 3 or 4 fucks before that shut down to begin with, and something's dealt with, right? And that's the way you handle it in a major corporation, right? Like, you're not up here insulting people that kind of outrank you in the goddamn promotion, right? Like, nobody's going to let Patrick Mahomes even sit at a press conference and be like, well, I mean, maybe Patrick Mahomes might be in that scenario, but like
if you take the football analogy of Patrick Mahomes and head coach Andy Reid, and they're sitting there after a win.
Let's even say Clark Hunt.
Yeah.
Right?
Even
the fucking owner, right?
Yeah. If Patrick Mahomes and Clark Hunt are sitting there after a win and someone sparked a memory of a loss from 7 years ago, which again, say all of this out loud, it's so weird. But if Patrick Mahomes was like, Travis Kelce is unreliable, this offensive line is just a bunch of fat fucks.
You're right. Yeah.
Fuck himself.
Yeah.
I don't like our fullback. He can never protect me. All these fucking guys suck.
Clark Hunt, then he says, like, we got people walk around the office, call themselves fucking, like, if he starts
Yeah.
Look, we can discuss that the EVP might be a name only for these guys that are left since Cody's left. And this might be a reason Cody left, because he's like, guys, I thought we were going to be like
Real.
EVPs and try to run this. I'm out of here. But you still don't go up there and go, you know, the vice president of marketing's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like if fucking Mahomes was like, I'd be selling more jerseys if that fucker had his head out of his ass.
Yeah.
Right? Like that shit would not fly. It just doesn't
And
go.
so one thing that I read, again, speculation, is that Tony Khan sitting there may have been saying, you know what, I'm not going to stop him because I think I agree with him. There could be the way of, hey, I don't think all the fucks are necessary and all the cussing.
I just also think maybe, you know, and this is not necessarily bad. I don't want to say, like, you got to be a strong man and know how to control these situations. He was uncomfortable and didn't know what to do. And he views CM Punk as like, I pay this guy a lot of money. He's a big star. He's a big draw. Ratings, like, let's just get through this. And a couple times it feels like he's like, all right, fucking done. And people start asking wrestling questions and they're like answering wrestling questions. Yeah. And then he's like, you know what else fucking chaps my ass? He's just leaning into stuff. And then you can see Tony Khan being like, but like you can see the things that he's wincing at, and then like you kind of see how he's looking around the room. I think he's just like, what the fuck am I going to do? Like I think it was just like a, you know, some people they say they freeze in the moment of fucking. That's where we're like, hey, everybody who thinks I'll carry a gun because I'm going to stop a robbery or something. If you haven't been in that situation, you don't know, man. Right? Like you might freeze in a moment. I've seen a woman nearly watch her children die in a pool that she was 10 feet away from because she just fucking froze. You know what I mean? Like somebody else had to jump in and do it. Like you just don't know. And I think that's where Tony Khan was kind of like, what the fuck do I do? Right? He's never encountered such a situation.
But, and I agree. I think most likely, I don't know if the theory that he agrees with what CM Punk said is really real. Maybe a little bit of it, but not all of it, you know?
Yeah.
But also,
I'm sure he probably did agree with some of it. Yeah.
But
maybe
also, like you said,
Hangman said what he said on the promo and said,
you're right.
You know, like said, oh, I don't need their advice, right? Like maybe he was like, yeah, that was stupid.
Yeah. But what I think is, like you said, this is a multi-million-dollar company now trying to sell video games and action figures and all that. Where the fuck is your head of PR? Where is the person that can take the bullet and say, Punk, hey, we're not talking about that tonight. Hey, reporter.
We talk stories all the time about when we would do these WWE interviews.
Yeah.
We always have a handler.
And there's always someone to
it down. You could see that they were trained on some of the questions we asked to look over and get a nodding approval from the person to discuss what they were about to discuss.
And I'm not saying it needs to go that far, but there is someone who knows, like, I've been in this situation before, right? I have been. If you want to
control your narrative, you'll follow.
Oh, easy three. But someone needs to be in that situation, I think. Again, for this company, Tony Khan can't make every fucking decision every fucking time, every fucking where.
And maybe Tony Khan's skill set doesn't lend itself well for that moment. You need a PR guy who can go, anyway, guys, everybody, thanks for coming out. You know, if you have other questions, send them to the email. We're going to, you know, like, it's all the time we've got. Fucking mic's off.
Exactly. Something needed to happen, but because there was no skilled marketing person or no adult in the room, shit got all crazy. And then one thing that I think is getting missed in all of this media scrum, now that we go back to that just for a quick moment, is Swerve in Our Glory also wasn't the nicest during their whole of the Acclaimed is fun. Keith Lee, to his credit, was like, I like it. When these people do that, that makes me want to hurt them more. I like the energy. It pumps me up. Swerve Strickland, because Tony Khan says, you know, the Acclaimed are the most winningest tag team in AEW history. I think a rematch between the most winningest tag team and the champs at Grand Slam would be great. And Swerve Strickland outright says, no, I don't. He says, and I quote, you better expect me to get, he said, quote, don't be surprised if I get hurt after this match. Saying that the Acclaimed are not as good of wrestlers as they should be for championship matches. That's another thing. Tony Khan, like, brother, you need to have someone there that can fucking put out fires in the moment.
Well, that's the thing is, like, you know, we like that it's not completely scripted questions and answers. It's not a fake WWE press conference. But you have to get both screen and then receive an understanding, you know, an acknowledgement of understanding from the talent that are going to do this, that, like, yes, it's not fully scripted, but you're still in character.
Yeah, you're still
in this press conference, right? Like, yes, we let you blend character with reality here, but you don't start discussing that the Xerox is broken in the fucking in the break room, right?
Yeah,
there would be a Xerox there, but you know what I mean.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. So all of that goes down. There's suspensions everywhere. From what I've read, everyone got suspended who was even involved. I think Larry got suspended. I don't think he's involved in AEW right now.
Everybody's suspended.
Everybody's suspended. The fate of Ace Steel and CM Punk has still not been revealed. The suspensions for Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks have not been revealed. However, from reputable sources, they have all been suspended, at least the elite side. Now, I had mentioned they got stripped of their titles. Well, good thing CM Punk got stripped of his title this time, because I would hate for another interim championship from CM Punk, because now it's being reported that CM Punk tore his tricep and he'll be out for 6 to 8 months, as did, going into All Out, Christian Cage, which would explain why his match was so short. He also tore his tricep. So 2 of your veterans are going to be out at least 7 months, I would assume, with injuries. Works out pretty well that, at least for us as fans, that CM Punk got stripped of the championship and not stays champion and we find an interim again.
Did he say on these tournaments, these aren't interim champions, right?
Correct. These are the champions.
So the Death Triangle is the
trios champion.
And we will have a
new,
not interim. All right.
Yeah, at Grand Slam.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I it's easy for me to say what I'm about to say because I don't have the accounting numbers sitting in front of me. But I'm going to guess that CM Punk, surprise, is not as big of a draw as he thinks he is comparatively to the rest of the group, right? And I feel like you do have a situation now where I don't know if this town is big enough for the two of us, right? And you've got the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and their clan, essentially, and CM Punk and Ace Steel over here. And if I'm Tony Khan, what we had was great before CM Punk showed up here. And is it now? Of course we can say it's not just CM Punk. There's a myriad of things going on. But, like, if I have to pick one or two, I know a lot more people are probably going to identify and side with, like, people that work here, right, with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and all them versus CM Punk. So I'm at some point like, hey, we'll pay your contract out, right? And thanks.
Yeah.
Right? It was real while it lasted.
Yeah. That's hard. Because if you release CM Punk, I still think then I'm still a hot draw. I think people would love to see me. So then he goes to New Japan. He goes to, because he thinks he's a tough guy now. So he goes to a promotion.
WWE's not touching him now, right?
No.
Like, I could have seen, if this didn't happen and his contract ends, he goes, I'll go there and they work out something. But, like, seeing this, they're going to be like, no, motherfucker, you ain't. No. Same old guy.
I personally would agree. I would side with the Elite here, which is almost turning my stomach that I agree with the Young Bucks in a situation. But
this has endeared me a lot more to it too. They went and said, all right, motherfucker, you said let's go.
Yeah. For as much as I've called them dorks and all other kind of cuss words, it was impressive that they said, okay, then let's find out. I think it was bad timing. I think CM Punk was still adrenaline going, was ready to fight anyone in the world who was knocking on his door. But anyhow, it did make me respect them a little bit of, all right, if you say you want to talk, then we're going to talk right now. Respect to the Young Bucks. I don't say that very much, so take it for what it's worth. Tim, let's now get into AEW Dynamite. So, like I mentioned, Tony Khan said new trios champions will be crowned tonight, and then we're going to start a tournament. The winner at Grand Slam will be our new AEW World Champion. And so then we get that, and as soon as that happens, we get MJF, and he goes full babyface. He's wearing a Josh Allen jersey, which is stupid. He's running out, high-fiving, kissing babies, doing all the shit, right? Hey, everyone, I know I talked shit on you in the past, but hey, who cares, right? And before he could even really say anything of substance, John Moxley walks out, and he just says, you're full of shit. full of crap, but he meant full of shit.
That's all he says too. He's like, "You're full of shit."
And instantly MJF is like, God damn it, he's right. He sees through it.
Yeah,
and
says,
so then he
you
goes,
think I'd lie to these sweaty, fat
yeah.
yeah. He says Josh Allen sucks, which I mean he's right.
Yeah, he ain't there. The Bills are gonna suck this year too. You heard it here first. It's a curse. It's happened. It's real. Look it up. Divisional losses to the Chiefs when Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback. That team the next year absolutely sucks, and it's going to happen to the Bills. Sorry, Buffalo, your town sucks. I'm kidding. Your team sucks. Your town seems fine. But MJF then goes like, "Hey,
never been, so I won't confirm.
It seems fine." Hey, West Side Gun, who we'll talk about in a little bit.
Like, we live in Kansas City, right? Like, I mean, we love Kansas City, but like, yeah, we get it.
Yeah, but West Side Gun's from Buffalo, so it can't be all that
can't
bad.
Be that bad, I mean?
Right? Yeah, and we'll talk about him in just a moment. So then MJF goes, "All right, fine, you got me," and he's just talking shit. And then Moxley is saying, "Let's fight now." MJF cowers away. And then I think, honestly, one of the most important promos in AEW history, Dynamite, Rampage, pay-per-view, whatever it was, came from Jon Moxley after this. Now, last night, because I'm a baller, I was sitting in dugout suites at the Kansas City Royals game, so I was unable to tweet live, but you were, which thank you so much for picking up the slack for me there. But you said on our Twitter account at Table Show that Jon Moxley gave like the halftime speech of a football game.
He went full high school coach halftime speech on that. Devil Vamp also joined in on the Twitter. He says, "This is time to be a legend. God damn, that was a powerful tucking promo. Hashtag AEW Dynamite. Hashtag tweet the table." I think we know what he meant there. But yes, I mean, as much as I said, hey, he went full high school coach, that was warranted, right? It felt like it was, he said, hey, fuck them, right? Without saying fuck them, right? Without referencing them, without talking about them, without what happened. He was like, hey, we came here. We all came around and fucking sang Kumbaya for this shit right here. Let's get back to this shit right here. Who's fucking with me, right? He gave us a Nick Gage level feeling with that speech.
And it was amazing. That's what I said. That's why I think it's honestly, if AEW perseveres out of this moment and somehow uses the elite CM Punk thing to take new heights as far as storytelling, all that stuff, I honestly think this is the promo that resets and revamps AEW because you said,
I felt like, hey, it's a new day. And honestly, like, I kind of want to happen what I said. Like, I want eventually the elite to be unsuspended and they come back, CM Punk's injured, and we just kind of don't get him back, right? They at some point they're like, they've granted CM Punk his release and paid him whatever.
Yeah,
and we just move forward like he didn't exist. What else is he going to do now that's really going to, like, I mean, yeah, you'll get a big pop if he shows up somewhere because of, like, what happened, but we've seen it, right? It's not bringing in the mainstream fan, right? It's not like putting the numbers over the top, is it?
I will counter. I will counter your statement here because the thing that I've always been wanting from this miserable person, from all accounts, is for him to be a miserable character. I want the heel CM Punk. I have never liked babyface CM Punk. The only time CM Punk has been cool was Straight Edge Society, or when he was doing the I'm straight edge and that makes me better than you. All of the heel things that CM Punk does is a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 for me. His babyface stuff is 6, 7. It's, even his stuff with Paul Heyman and WWE was outstanding, I thought. But when he's a babyface, he is vanilla because it's not him. We saw him at the height of his career when he reached the pinnacle to now finally have the autumn of Punk, or whatever we're going to call it, what we were going to call it. He decided to complain. And so that's who he is. And look, I'm the same way. I do it every fucking time too. I know exactly how he feels.
You're doing it right fucking now.
I'm doing it right now. That's why if he's coming back, you lean into it. He's no longer this voice of the voiceless, which he said he wasn't anymore, but you get what I'm saying. The man of the people, that shit is out the window. He is now, I'm here to collect a check. You all suck.
Go full Hogan.
Yes. Go full.
Big time everybody.
Yes. Maybe real, but I'm saying as far as TV, he just goes full. That ain't in the cards, brother.
Right.
Like, have Tony Schiavone say tonight you're
Lean
supposed to
into
be
I'm not wrestling these fucking kids, right?
Yeah, I'm not
I'm
wrestling
only
him.
wrestling Bryan Danielson and Chris Jericho.
Well, they're not here tonight. Well, it looks
Yeah.
like I'm not working tonight then,
Yeah.
pal.
Yeah.
Full CM Punk dickhead. If full CM Punk dickhead comes back, I'm all in. I am all in until so wheels fall off. I want to see heel CM Punk. But
shout out to Justin Floor in the YouTube chat, said he's been waiting all day for this episode. And so
Justin. Yeah. So let's get back on track.
Joining in. By the way, join us on the live streams if you're just listening on the podcast episodes Wednesday or Thursday nights. Maybe we'll get a little more regular, but we'll say Thursdays, right? For now. Next week will be Wednesday. Next week will be Wednesday. We're adult men with adult lives, but one of those days we do it live. So you can sign up for reminders on the Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, whatever. You can always catch it on SpanishAnnounceTable.net. So anyway, back to the
so let's get into some action. We kind of covered it already, but we had Death Triangle versus the Best Friends. Death Triangle get the victory. They are now your AEW World Trios champions. Here's my question to you, though. This is the first time that I can think of, at least, that we have a wrestler who has two titles. So now Pac is the All-Atlantic champion and the trios.
I was sure they were going Best Friends for that reason. I was like, he's got the Atlantic. We're going to get the Best Friends. They should have gave him the tag titles a while back, and they missed that boat.
Mm-hmm.
This is easy right here. Everybody will love the Best Friends and Orange Cassidy with the trios titles. And we didn't get it. So maybe that's something they're like, hey, we'll save that for the Arthur Ashe thing, right? What are they calling this at the next event?
Grand Slam.
Grand Slam, right? Maybe that's it. But I just thought, okay. And not to give me wrong, I like Death Triangle a lot.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
But I was just like, interesting move. A lot of interesting booking moves this weekend. I think, again, we've said they have never established a pattern. And they clearly didn't go with like, hey, we're going to give the fans all the happy things they want, because they didn't do a whole lot of them. So
my thought there is, if you rewind back to All Out, after Pac defeats Kip Sabian, Orange Cassidy comes out, kind of looks at that All-Atlantic Championship, and then Pac's like, no. So I think, if I were to read the mind of Tony Khan, I think Trios champs are going to be Death Triangle. Your All-Atlantic champ is going to be Orange Cassidy. And I think what they might do there is kind of what they did with Pac, and send Orange Cassidy, the AEW flag bearer, and send him to IWP or AAW and all these other shows around Journey Pro. Have him come to Journey Pro. That'd be great. And then defend his championship there. That's what I think might happen.
Yeah, it's a good call.
We'll see.
It's a good call. By the way, so we had All Out. How is the pay-per-view after All Out not called Fallout? Am I right? It should be called Fallout.
It's called Full Gear.
Yeah.
They're all out,
so
now they got to get...
It doesn't even have to be a pay-per-view. It could be like they're doing this Dynamite thing, right? You call it Fallout.
I like it. Yeah. I do like it.
Yeah.
Speaking of Kip Sabian, he was accompanying his wife, Penelope Ford,
who we saw in the airport. When we were leaving.
Very nice. Very tiny.
Yeah.
Both very tiny people. Even when we met Kip Sabian, I was like, you are a tiny person.
Yeah. But they stuck out. You kind of saw them in the airport and you were like,
there's somebody.
Other people
sure.
were probably like, who the hell are those people?
Yeah. So Toni Storm took on Penelope Ford in a championship qualifier match, which again is fucking stupid. It's dumb. You never do that unless the heel champion says, I'm not giving you the title unless you can beat me once. A babyface would just say, let's wrestle for the championship. I think I'm better than you and I'll prove it. So again, it's the dumbest concept in recent wrestling history that I can ever think of. Anyhow, Toni Storm wins. What do you think about Toni Storm as your interim champ? You think she's going to hold the fort down for the women?
Toni Storm is one where I kind of feel like the same with Thunder Rosa, where it's like, yeah, they're fine, right? They're good in the ring. There's no issues there. But I don't have a reason to care, I guess, right? I don't root for somebody just because I'm like, I like this one. I think she's the prettiest or whatever, right? I like the red tights or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I need a storyline, and I don't feel like we've ever gotten it out of Toni Storm anywhere I've seen her. Yet.
I'm interested to know, because again, I don't read that stuff, but the Thunder Rosa situation, I don't know if it's a broken back or a torn pec or whatever it is, right? A ripped Achilles. I'm interested to know how long she's going to be out when she comes. Okay, well, fair enough. That takes some time too. But I don't know if she comes back sooner rather than later, and then we get the champion versus champion thing. Or, and hear me out on this, because this has happened before in the UFC. It happened to Dominic Cruz, where Dominic Cruz ripped his ACL. He was the bantamweight champion, 135 pounds. He was bantamweight champion, ripped his ACL out. He's on the shelf for a year. So they make an interim championship. He's training to come back. Dominic Cruz, that is. He's ready to go. Rips his other ACL on his other leg. He's out again for another 12 months. And so after he rips the second ACL, they just say the interim champ is now your undisputed champ. Dominic Cruz is not fit yet to compete for this title.
Yeah,
so
2 years go by, like, sorry, you
exactly
fall down the crack.
So
yeah, right.
And I'm not saying have 2 years pass, but what I'm saying is if Thunder Rosa is going to be on the shelf for 9-10 months, you just after 3 months just say Toni Storm is our undisputed champion because Thunder Rosa cannot compete. If she does return to the ring, she'll get the first shot.
Yeah, to me it makes sense if we're only going to go through 1-2 special events, right? Especially since they do their pay-per-views quarterly, but I know you sprinkle in a few more. So I'd say if we get into 3, like, it's time to say this is undisputed champ. Yeah,
exactly. After Toni Storm wins, we get a great video package. I am fucking pumped, Tim, because we get a video package from 2.0 and Action Bronson and Hook. And from all indication, it looks like at Grand Slam, September 21st, we're going to get 2.0 versus Action Bronson and Hook. Are you serious?
Yeah, I mean, love this. I love this because any mainstream media attention that they'll get, or from the rap community from Action Bronson, is going to feature 2.0, and those guys are so money. And I'm glad more people are going to be like, who the fuck are these characters?
Who are these nerds? Yeah. And I mean, 2.0 can wrestle broomsticks, as they say, and have a decent match. Hook has the charisma that going to New York, his backyard, he's going to get cheered out of the building. Well, it doesn't have a roof, but you know what I'm saying. And then Action Bronson, you could have him rap like West Side Gun does later on in the night. You could have him just being ready and someone else raps out for him. Whatever you do, you have some great creative possibilities. And Action Bronson's in my top 5. I love Action Bronson, hand on a Bible. I listen to him all the time. And so for him to wrestle, cannot fucking wait.
Yeah.
By the way, side note, if you do like Action Bronson and you have the UFC video game, he is a special character in the UFC video game. So you can have him knock out Dana White, which I do from time to time. It's fun. Okay, let's get back into AEW Dynamite.
Since we were talking, go ahead. Sorry, I'll bring this up later. You go ahead.
Okay.
Yep.
So after that, the Acclaim make their way out. They say, yo, listen. And then Swerve Strickland just cuts that off and just plays full heel. Now, what'd you think of the segment? I had an observation that I'll say after you.
It was surprising for me. It's like, okay, they're going to lean full heel. And this told me more. I'm like, all right, I think Tony Khan has recognized where he went wrong and is going to right this situation.
I agree. If I'm in the room, I think maybe that's what they said. The observation that I came with, though, after this segment is it was just Swerve Strickland. Keith Lee wasn't out there. It wasn't the two of them.
Correct.
It was just Swerve Strickland saying, like, you guys suck. Which, again, go back to that media scrum. Keith Lee was like, the Acclaim is great. They're fine. I kicked their ass. Things happen. Swerve Strickland was more, I don't like these guys. They're bad for the company, all that kind of stuff. I wouldn't be shocked at Grand Slam. This is where we accelerate what we were going to do with Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, and we separate them here. I think the Acclaim will become the champs, but I think this is where
this is starting to become your end. John Cena turns heel.
No, I think so,
and
though.
Then Swerve in Our Glory splits up.
This is where they do it. They're going to do it.
I agree with you. Yeah,
they're going to do it.
Should happen.
It's not John Cena going heel. They're all going to split up. We'll see.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So then we go ahead.
No, I'm just excited for the Acclaim. By the way, I think where maybe it doesn't, like, where we were like, they were so over, the whole crowd was into them. How did they not book them to win this? Maybe a guy like Tony Khan doesn't quite see what we saw on the ground. You couldn't go anywhere in the All Out sphere and GCW, weekend in Chicago without getting aggressively scissored wherever the fuck you were, right? Like, everybody was like, scissor me, fucking scissor me. They were like, no, don't go away, fucking scissor me. And so it was so surprising when it was like, oh, how did they not understand?
Well,
how did they not know?
The only thing I thought is, okay, it's great in Chicago. You know what's louder than Chicago? New York. And so we're going to do Chicago. But you know what I'm saying?
There's a reason you're the second city, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So maybe that's it. But it should be interesting. Okay, so let's get back to Dynamite. We hear from Chris Jericho. He says Daniel Garcia, he's going to beat him.
Yeah.
He's going to beat Yuta tonight. He believes in him. Yeah.
So this is what I wanted to bring up earlier because it was from All Out, but it was another tweet the table, but it was about Chris Jericho, and it's from Katie First, a lady, and she says, Jericho's greatest match right now is trying to keep his pants up. Hashtag tweet the table.
Yeah. Look, we've said this multiple times, but his in-ring career should have ended when MJF and that 5 labors. He should have went to the commentary booth. You could still have him do a one-off match. I'm not saying he's done forever.
The Undertaker each year. Even,
yeah. But this all the time in my face, I'm out of it. But we'll talk about that at the end in the main event. Back into the ring, we get a TNT Championship match, and it is one-way traffic. Wardlow just mops the floor with Tony Nese, and then says something kind of stupid, in my opinion. He says, I see that people are saying that the momentum's gone and all of this. And so I'm here to tell you, fuck that. I'm the man. What you're really saying, though, is since I beat MJF, I've had bad booking and people are starting to forget about me because all these things I'm doing right now are fucking dumb. Right? Isn't that what he's saying?
He's right, though.
He's not lying, but
he's not lying. But yeah, I don't know that I would have drawn attention to it, right?
Exactly.
But I mean, maybe that's what I don't know. He can say that, but if we get next weekend and it's somebody just
Scorpio Sky,
that's where we kind of said this. The juice on Wardlow was I don't know that I would have done it quite yet. The whole let's turn Wardlow. I know it felt right when we did the thing, but I was just I don't think they're ready to pull the trigger on where he should go from that, right?
Well, I think they should have. I think what's interesting is everyone wanted to cry this weekend about how MJF's return got overshadowed by CM Punk and this fist fight and all of that stuff. I would like to remind everyone that when Wardlow beat MJF, and that was supposed to be his moment in the sun, MJF started to throw a fit and no-showed on this and didn't do this and all the speculation like that. So it's like he got a little taste of his own medicine. If MJF would have been an adult, I think maybe Wardlow's momentum still continues and he doesn't just flounder because MJF now is the talk of the town and he's doing the promo where he cusses and all that stuff. And Wardlow's just the guy with the muscles. So that's what I would say. That's what I would say.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what we do with the Wardlow thing moving forward. But yeah, I mean, the promo was fucking full from his chest, right? I was like, all right, I dig it. This guy's on fire.
I think what you would do. Quick side note: if I was having the pencil, T-Mac story time here.
Yeah.
Shotgun right now. Powerhouse Hobbs. Wardlow. No, Powerhouse Hobbs. Wardlow.
Okay.
Do it right now.
Right.
Do
big meaty men slapping
big meaty men slapping meat. I would even have them standing in the ring because you know how Gunther and Sheamus did this stare down while everyone was fighting around him, and then they also did it with Tanahashi and Moxley in AEW a few months ago. I would switch that up a little bit. I would have security run in. Powerhouse Hobbs slams the first one. Wardlow slams the second one. And they just are like, oh, you think you can top me? And they're just killing the security. And then they go and me and you, and then they, do their shit. That I think would be a little bit better and get some more juice into the Wardlow character.
Yeah, I could be behind that. Yeah.
All right, now we get our first tournament match here. We get Bryan Danielson versus Hangman Adam Page. And back-to-back losses this week for the Hangman. He loses on Sunday night and he loses on Wednesday night, this time losing to Bryan Danielson. Now, overall, evening up the win-losses for each person. But our Hangman, he lost, man. I tell you what, I was a little sad. What do you think?
I was a little surprised by that one. I just don't get the feeling. So to me, it was like, I don't get the feeling Bryan Danielson is winning this tournament, I guess. So then when he's beating the Hangman, I'm like, yeah. But maybe he is.
I think he is.
You think he is, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess I don't see why not. I mean, I'm not going to hate the idea of him doing it. I feel most cheated in very recent wrestling history, and we're not going to get this, but I feel like if it's not the planet's champion, angry vegan, Bryan Danielson, I don't want it. I don't want it. I want the vegan belt back.
So let's talk about it a little bit. We'll kind of, we got a couple more weeks to talk about it, and the stories will unfold as they do. But right now, obviously, we know Bryan Danielson beats Hangman Adam Page. Also in this tournament, getting a first round bye is Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley. Then you have Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin. The winner of Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin faces Jon Moxley next week, I believe it is. Chris Jericho, Bryan Danielson, which is a rematch from All Out on Sunday. Who's winning this whole tournament? Who do you got?
Yeah, so I don't think they're going to go with Jericho again, right? I think, there would be no reason. Mm-hmm. So you don't do that.
Okay.
I really don't think they're going to put on Sammy Guevara with all the stuff that just happened there too, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, he's getting punched in the back too. Mm-hmm. Bryan Danielson. I mean,
that's what I was saying.
It feels like Bryan Danielson, actually. Yeah.
Because when I saw that, I instantly thought we're doing Danielson and Moxley at Grand Slam. Blackpool Combat
Club do? Right.
Yep. The philosophy of the Blackpool Combat Club will be won in this scenario. You go back to their match that they had at the pay-per-view where William Regal debuted. Moxley won. So it only makes sense this time around to even up the score. Danielson would win. It would be a first-time championship for him. And Bryan Danielson's someone you can rely on. He can go on those shows and do that media and not say fucking bullshit and talk with his mouth full of muffins and all that other dumb shit. That was the other thing. Dude, you were eating and drinking. Why couldn't you have done that before? Again, no one's there with an adult formed brain. Hire me, Tony Khan. I'm the greatest on the fly pro wrestling writer.
They always have waters available at these things because people speaking need water, but
not food,
right?
But Tony Khan, I am the greatest on the fly pro wrestling writer of all time, bar none. Suck it from the back if you disagree. I also, though, have legitimate 5 years experience of doing live events. I can fucking handle this. And you think I'm afraid to tell Punk to shut the fuck up? Oh, please. Give me that. Yeah, give me that 7 times a day. I will be the bad guy for you every day, time of the week. But yeah, he was eating and drinking.
Punk's gonna punch you, and then you'll sue him.
Of course.
Yeah.
I've been cornered by a former WWE champion who gave MMA a chance, and he's much bigger than CM Punk. And I handled that situation, so I can handle him, and I can handle Wardlow or anyone else. So I'm just saying, clean it up. Anyhow, so I think Bryan Danielson becomes champion, but we'll see what happens. What do we get next? Then we get this Stokely Hathaway crew comes out, tries to cut a promo. They say wrap it up. He doesn't like that, and they beat him up.
Yeah, that was.
This is the cost of CM Punk being a dumb shit. I think that group had something to do with MJF, which then had something to do with CM Punk. But now
that was going to be their mission, but now they don't have a mission.
Now they don't have a mission, so now they have to just go well, what the fuck do we do now?
Yeah, and it kind of appeared like they're not with MJF.
Mm-hmm.
Like they talked about him, yeah, it's great, buddy. And MJF didn't acknowledge them.
Right. Didn't say thanks to my friends, nothing. So what could have been? What could have been? All right, so now let's get to our main event. We get
this is great.
Wheeler Yuta versus Daniel Garcia, as mentioned already. Daniel Garcia comes out with
This was for the
West
ROH
Side
Pure
Gun
Championship, right?
for the ROH Pure Championship.
Yep.
You get West Side Gun wrapping out Daniel Garcia. You get Yuta knowing that this isn't his backyard, coming in there fired up, ready to go. And they put on such a fun match here. I thought everything about this was great. Fast forward to the end. Daniel Garcia gets the submission victory. He is now your new Pure Champion. And then this is when the fun starts. So he becomes your new Pure Champion. Bryan Danielson walks out, pushes Yuta because Yuta's mad because he finally lost to Garcia because he was beating him previous to this, if you recall. And Danielson pushes Yuta, says, shake his hand. Damn it, that's the rules. Okay, let's shake his hand. And then Bryan Danielson puts the belt on Daniel Garcia, which then brings out Chris Jericho saying, what the hell is this all about? So what'd you think about the end of AEW Dynamite?
Yeah, I like that. Lean into it, right? Like Jericho's jealous of this shit. Like, what are you like? What are you looking at her? What are you looking at him for? I'm your daddy.
Scissor me.
Right. Yeah, scissor me. Yeah.
So what's the payoff? What do you think happens? Is this a switch where we get Yuta goes to the JAS and Garcia goes to Blackpool Combat Club?
I don't think we get a switch, maybe, but I think I could see Daniel Garcia going to the Blackpool Combat Club, and that's how, like, Jericho finally, like, we get a clear cut Danielson over Jericho, and then we're going to get Moxley versus Danielson.
Mm-hmm. But then where does Garcia fall in this? Then do we get Garcia Jericho? Is that the transition?
Yeah, maybe that's like a fallout. Yeah. Yeah.
You can see it. What happens with Yuta, though? That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah, I don't really care. If I'm being honest now, I don't like, I like that match, right? But I don't care anything about the character of Wheeler Yuta. Like, what he does next, I don't care.
He's a young boy getting...
Has he said a word ever?
He doesn't need to.
Yeah,
he doesn't need to. No, he doesn't.
Well, he needs a manager.
He does. He has William Regal.
Well, yeah, you should say some shit for him then.
Well, they don't have enough time because they're putting fucking CM Punk on the show.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So, and not just CM Punk. You're putting all,
Yeah.
There's
I mean, Will, you have him wrestle fucking, Jack Swagger or something. I don't know.
All I know is I'm ready.
That's not his
right
name,
now.
Jake Hager. Sorry.
Yeah. Whatever. Who cares? He's a nothing.
Both are worthless. Yeah.
I think right now you honestly need to pull the trigger and get whatever you can and get an ROH show, because you got to get the Claudios, the Yutas, the Grisham, or Grisham's not with them, but the you could have that group invade Ring of Honor. Have Stokely Hathaway.
What are we doing about AEW's main event scene? Because now it feels like it's Danielson, Jericho, and MJF and
Moxley.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Name the main event scene.
Who else? Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Name the main event scene over at WWE. Roman Reigns and fucking guy that got his ass beat and sings a song afterwards.
Drew, Seth. Who else is up in there?
Cody, but he's hurt.
Yeah.
Riddle, who just keeps losing to everyone, and
Randy Orton.
And he's hurt.
Yeah. They definitely have more, but they also have more shows. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, that's just it. They have more shows and they can move folks around, and we don't go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Like, who are we going to get as 5 over here in AEW, basically?
You could elevate quickly Darby Allin.
Well, you would hope so. Yeah, we need to do something.
Yeah, I would elevate Darby Allin. With Christian out for 8 months, I would have Jack Perry beat up Luchasaurus and elevate him to maybe a TNT championship. No.
He's got to have a singles run like TNT first before he goes through that. Yeah.
Well, no, that's just, but you have to keep him with Bowens. Are you breaking him up?
Once the scissoring fade dies down.
It will never fade, Tim. It will never fade.
All right, fine. We'll be scissoring in 10 years when we're doing episode 800.
Damn right. I would elevate Miro. Here's who I would elevate.
Yeah, Miro. Yeah.
Right. So you ask, right? So let's just say the main event scene is Moxley, Jericho, Danielson, MJF. Those are your 4, right? I'm elevating Miro,
good
Darby, Wardlow,
Wardlow,
and Jungle Boy. And if you want 10, then I'm going to give you Powerhouse Hobbs.
Yeah, Powerhouse
Right there.
Hobbs. Yep, I like that. Good.
No, fuck that. Hold on, fuck that. No, I'm putting the greatest pro wrestler in the fucking world at number 10. Eddie goddamn Kingston.
Oh, Eddie fucking Kingston.
Eddie
He's
Kingston.
number one. He's
He's
one.
number, yeah.
Yeah.
Eddie Kingston should be your, if ever there's been a need or ever there's been an opportunity for Eddie Kingston to be the champion, it is right now after this tournament.
We forgot about the easiest answer as well. Cutie. Our great Cutie.
But that was a given.
Fuck, we forgot to get him on the show again.
I mean, we forgot, but we talked to him and then he, he's fine, yeah. But I mean, Cutie is obviously a given, right? It's like,
well, Cutie took the like, I won't win the AEW championship like Cody. Right. He's like, I don't want to hold on to it for 20 years. I want to give these kids a shot.
Yeah.
Cutie.
Yeah. Hangman, I would also push up there. I love Hangman.
Oh, yeah.
Kenny Omega, if he ever comes back.
In that. Yeah. Fucking Hangman.
Love Hangman. Side note, too, before we leave, he was another person that I've met before, so I didn't do the meet and greet again because I've already met him once. But I was standing in the line that was next to his. He was so good with every fucking person, whether it was man, woman, child. Everyone got their due time with him, and he treated everyone with respect.
Butterfly pants.
He's the best. That's why
I feel like if he ran with finger guns up, that could be a shirt almost as successful as the Scissor Me Daddy Ass finger. Well, if he kept referring to it as finger guns up, and then your
who you kind of look like,
you go around going like finger guns.
Right, but you know who you look like right there? Matt Cardona.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah,
but he's stealing from him.
I know, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's true that he does do the finger.
Yeah,
guns
he does
up.
that. Right. Yeah.
Well, then he can do it. If I get somebody do it, give me a finger guns up. Give me a Scissor Me Daddy Ass shirt and a finger me gun or finger
me guns.
Finger me guns. Finger guns up. By the way, no Scissor Me Daddy Ass shirts available on site all weekend. I was upset.
That was such a
order
stupid
online, but I was ready to buy one, so I bought this sweet GCW shirt instead.
That would be the other thing. The two observations I have from AEW All Out was a little bit long on the pay-per-view. Merchandise could have been way better.
4 times as much, probably.
It was slim pickings, and even that wasn't that great.
Yeah, each time we counted it, even at the main pay-per-view, there was like 2 desks, and you know what I mean? You might have had like 7 shirts and a signed title, a couple of 8x10s that you could have bought, and some toys, like 5 toys. It was low.
And you're down the street from Pro Wrestling Tees. So like, I just didn't get that. And then the other thing, and this is me patting myself on the back, but I can make those meet and greet fan fest things so much better. It was great.
It wasn't designed the best. I'll give you that.
Exactly. We did get to see Sting before the match, and I freaked out because of that. That was probably one of my favorite moments. I was just like, oh shit, Sting. Yeah. My childhood hero. So that was our AEW All Out weekend, and then a little Dynamite recap. Next week, Tim, episode 400.
Episode 400.
If you have any ideas of what you want us to do, what you want us to talk about, you can obviously use hashtag tweet the table. Or if you want a long form request or question or information that you want to give to us, tableshow@gmail.com. You could always write us an email. We'll read that on the podcast and we'll talk to you that way as well. So hit us up. We got 6 days now until our next episode. We're going to be on Wednesday night as soon as Dynamite is over, because Thursday night the Chiefs are playing. So we're not doing it. Period. And then let us know what you want to do for episode 400.
And remember, until next time, spread a little love through violence.
The Spanish announce table.